I know it's hard to get back in. After all, we spend 90% of our lives indoor and close to 20% on a toilet seat. I thought today that I should linger a bit outside, so to speak, in the periphery of the more specific work that we're doing with our wonderful partners in Powerhouse, Constellation, the Zero Emission, and the Zero Emission Neighborhoods programs, where we design structures with negative CO2 footprints, and which is, of course, at the core of most of our daily work, and which is, of course, fully achievable. I shall try to focus on some aspects, or layers, rather, of urban smartness, not commonly mentioned in definitions of smart cities today. Technological and digital platforms are, of course, important ingredients of future smart cities, but I would like to present a few of Snøhetta's positions beyond these issues. An architect called Nolli, urban planner also, produced an urban plan or a map in 1748 of Rome, and the map was actually revolutionary. Nolli invented a mind map of the city Rome, moving beyond the experience of separated indoor and outdoor spaces, beyond the separate experience of buildings, streets, objects, and plazas, parks, and topography. He invented, in fact, a map that changed the knowledge completely, the knowledge of Rome. Although portraying reality, he made no graphical differentiation between indoor and outdoor, but only between public and private areas. White is representing the public, and black is private. The tool he introduced turned our understanding of Rome 180 degrees. You should try yourself to move around Rome after his plans. Now, why is it important to talk about Nolli? Well, my first claim is that smart cities know themselves beyond their physical representation, inside out. And as such, Nolli is even more relevant because today urban representations of our cities still are portrayed with black plans. They're looking at buildings and objects as solitaries. Representation of urban structures still equal our constructed environment and their relationship to streets, squares, parks, topography, and so forth. We still, today, 2016, analyze cities based on this particular specific information, and we plan the expansion of our cities based on this information, the black plan, despite the fact that most of these city structures have been planned and built long before our contemporary understanding of democratic values had been defined. So why are these representations no longer sufficient as tools for further development of our cities? Where is the democratic city? Smart cities create planning tools which can encourage the actual decisions that need to be made politically, aesthetically, functionally, economically, environmentally, and socially. Helsinki has tried to do this and defining Nolli in a new manner by comparing three different graphical representations of the city. To the left, the first, a factual one, a cartographic one, which describes the constructed verticality versus horizontality in the city. The second one to the right is less factual, but is a drawing which defines how we experience the reality of these streets and the buildings. And in the middle, the third is a representation of the potential of an existing experience of a built environment by opening up its walls and inviting the public in. Smart cities do not only build new and better buildings, infrastructures, or communal areas. They continuously reinvent and reorganize themselves according to, again, political, technological, and social awareness. So what was the new opera house in Oslo about? Our intention was to confuse the understanding of a classical building typology by introducing a public roof on top of a classical function. There are still arguments in Oslo going on of how this building should be represented in maps. Is it a public plaza, or is it a building? The hybrid character of the building does not rely, however, on how it's represented in a drawing. It relies on how it is being experienced by the general public, users, performers. Accessibility to a structure is in itself a great value because it creates unforeseen events and activities. It challenges and enhances both the collective and the individual aspects of use and, not the least, ownership. And in this way, it may connect to the demand of public and private use at the same time. The third proclamation is smart cities use their sites twice, once for a selected public and once for the general public, challenging all the norms. There is too little time being spent on urban programming. We have to make sure that we program correctly. Paris has introduced this, as we have tested and done for the EDF electrical company site in Paris. The process utilized all information about the site that could possibly be given digitally, indoor and outdoor, and by subtraction, we created safety distances and so forth. The programming of this area speaks for itself. It is self-generated, and it is going beyond our understanding of ugly and pretty. Smart cities leave time for thorough programming, and they let form follow environmental conditions. Agricultural land is getting rare, close to our largest cities. At this site in Gonesse, outside of Paris, a large investor wanted to build 1 million square meters of shopping, hotels, restaurants, as well as amusement and leisure facilities on an agricultural site. Our response was to claim that despite the local job creation generated by the project, one should not reduce 1 milligram of food production, rather increase it. The location of an average French farm on the roof of this building gave us the opportunity to reuse agricultural soil, and by that preserving the hundreds of years of embodied energy contained within. Smart cities do not reduce any food production when they expand. And finally, this time, just a short reminder that scale in urban environments is independent of their relative importance. Sometimes the smallest intervention can have the largest impact. The welfare of animal and insect life in our cities is an indicator of how well we are doing. Smart cities build beehives within every 1 kilometer of radius. Thank you.